Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. Mitch English along with Andrea Jackson. Things are getting hot in here, all thanks to 90 Day, the last resort. Take a look.
If you're gonna do this to me, we're gonna get divorced. Bringing someone into my bed, that's not okay. Yeah, I'm so freaking hurt right now.
The question is, do we still love each other?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't do this.
Oh, God. Where are you going, Kelly?
It's not supposed to feel like this.
Oh, yes, it gets much worse from there. And here to talk about it is our very good friend and relationship trauma expert, Dr. Janie Lacy. Hey, you doing there, Dr. Janie?
Hi, Mitch. I'm doing well.
Good. All right, explain a little bit, if people are not familiar with 90 Day, this whole show, what the concept is.
So 90 Day, the last resort, comes from the 90 Day Fiancé series. So what we've done was take some of the couples who had some of the more challenging issues through their season, and we took them to a retreat called The Last Resort because this was their last resort to repair their relationship.
All righty, and you know, you get to know somebody probably after 90 days is when you start to see who they really are. So that's what makes it interesting. However, out of all of them, who's the most dysfunctional couple on the show? Can you tell me that at least?
Well, I think each couple, Mitch, has their unique experience, right? So they all have different dysfunctions, they all have different challenges. But, you know, I think the key was that with all of the couples, there's something that anybody can resemble something in their own relationship, whether it's communication, whether it was conflict resolution, whether it was infidelity, whether it was looking at compromise, right? We can take a lot of these different concepts that these couples from The Last Resort were working through on The Last Resort to any of the couples that we work with in therapy, or perhaps someone that was watching the show. So I think they all have their unique challenges. Everyone has their dysfunction, but I think when it comes down to it, it's a matter of can they repair the dysfunction, and that's why we were there at The Last Resort.
Yeah, I wish I could appreciate you. We all see some element out of that. Is there some behind-the-scenes drama maybe you can spill and let us know?
Well, I think what's happening behind the scenes, right? We're seeing the snippets actually on the show, and a lot of that was these couples, it was their real life, it was their real feelings, and especially when we look at Asuelo and Kalani. You know, Asuelo was having a lot of difficult challenges with, even though he had brought betrayal into the relationship, and then now being faced with giving his wife the hall pass and then her falling in love with the person she had the hall pass with. What we didn't see is even more so of the emotional challenges that Asuelo was experiencing, because I think it's one thing when you are the betrayer and now he's sitting in the seat of being betrayed, and as a result losing his family. I think it was very, very difficult to see that behind the scenes and just a lot of the emotional outcry that we were experiencing, not on camera.
Yeah, I think the word emotions is probably going to play into effect of all that. Any other crazy moments that people should expect when they're watching?
Well, good old Angela. I think a lot of times people, when they think about 90 Day Fiancé, they think about Angela and Michael. And I think with Angela, you know, we see a lot of her explosiveness and we see a lot of her reactivities throughout the seasons of 90 Day Fiancé. But on The Last Resort, we also see her coming to a place where she was most vulnerable through the franchise, and she was actually able to reflect on her contribution to the dynamics that she had with Michael. But there was a lot of partying and there was a lot of stuff going on outside of what we were filming. But us as therapists, we had to draw a line, and we cannot work when people are under the influence. So, you know, those are some of the behind the scenes things that we had to struggle with. But we also understand it was a resort and people wanted to have fun.
That's what I was just about to say. I was like, all right, listen, you take me to a resort, you know, and I ain't got to pay the bill, you know. You're going to want that, and some imagined drama is shown there, but it does also say maybe, you know, true feelings come out because, you know, the inhibitions are loosened a little bit there. With your help, did you see any of the couples actually reconcile? And you don't have to mention which ones because we don't want to take away a lot of that, but did you get to see any success?
We saw a lot of breakthroughs, Mitch. You know, I think a lot of times when people have their defenses up, they're in these reactive states, they're pointing the fingers at each other, that coming into showing the power of therapy, coming into a therapeutic group setting, their individual sessions throughout the retreat, was able to give them insight to what the other person was experiencing of them. Because sometimes we have to look at our relationships are a mirror. But if we're looking at the mirror as someone that's hurting us versus being self-reflective and introspective of how we're contributing to that relationship, it can cause more harm than it's helpful. So we'll see through the last resort, several of the couples having breakthrough in their own self-reflection and how they contribute to their own self-suffering in the relationship. So that won't disappoint.
You know, you mentioned earlier about like we see ourselves in other people, you know, whatever point you want to take out. But you also mentioned infidelity. How can a couple actually overcome infidelity? Not talking about in a reality source, but in real life, in life, I guess you could say.
You know, when you think about infidelity, it's like taking a tornado and running it through someone's house. Their house was their safety. It was their place of love, of all the things. So they have a place where when it happens in their house, so to speak, they're shocked. When you think about a tornado coming through your house, there's going to be a lot of shock. There's disbelief. There's a lot of different things happening. But one of the things that we do know, because a lot of times people do work through infidelity, Mitch, that we don't know because they're still together, is that it takes both people to have a growth mindset, but the person who's been betrayed, it's going to take some time to kind of go through that grief, PTSD symptoms, but the betrayer has to have some consistency. They have to take ownership. There has to be accountability, and that's going to contribute to them rebuilding trust and loyalty for the long term. And we know the most difficult part of rebuilding trust is 2 to 5 years of work, Mitch.
Wow, that is a long time. So something to think about if you're thinking about going on the other side. Dr. Janie, thank you. I love having you on the show. Of course, you can check out 90 Day, of course, The Last Resort. It's on TLC. And if you want to get help with your relationship trauma, why not you check out Dr. Janie Lacy? You can go to the website at lifecounseling.solutions.com. We'll have the link on our website as well.